Close to a quarter of a century has passed since the worst terror attack in the U.S. history, and yet the scars of the horrific event still haunt those who lost family, kin, and friends. Nearly 3,000 all told that fateful day of September in Ground Zero in Manhattan, New York, in the heart of America's national security headquarters, in the Pentagon, in a quiet rural town of Pennsylvania in this report. In New York City's Ground Zero, where the North and South Towers of the World Trade Center used to stand, thousands of the families and friends of those who lost their loved ones in the Twin Tower collapse gathered to quietly commemorate their memories, to include U.S. President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and former Donald Trump and running mate Senator J.D. Vance. As is the tradition, each name of close to 3,000 World Trade Center employees, firefighters, and luckless civilians was read as the crowd stood in prayerful remembrance and reticence. The third plane that went down and crashed in quiet and rural town of Shanksville, Pennsylvania, was also visited by the Commander-in-Chief and Vice President Kamala Harris. Were it not for the courageous stand of the passengers of the plane to force themselves in the cockpit and physically take control of the plane, that ill-fated flight was headed for the White House. Finally, the fourth and last plane crash landed on the face of the Pentagon building in Virginia, the nerve center of America's national security and defense. A solemn ceremony was held outside, and Old Glory unfurled on the front face of the building where the plane crash landed, as each of those who died that day was read in mournful silence, punctuated by the haunting strains of taps in the end. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin joined the gathering and then spoke to honor the fallen, their families and friends, first responders and survivors who helped save lives inside the building that caught fire when the plane hit. William Theo for the National TV for a New and Better Philippines.